All right, there we go. The go live button is still not working. We're moving into month 2 now of the go live button here on the Restream dashboard. Not working. That's okay. Not going to let that. Oh, hold on. There's the CNN music. Hi, everybody. Welcome into the rant. I am Pugs Moran. Happy 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. A little different time we're doing it today. We always do it around noon, 1 or 2, whatever. I try to get in every day unless there's something else happening. We do the show live here from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E-Gallery in Dallas's fantastic design district. And what is this, you might be asking? It's talk radio. It's talk radio performed by one individual, me, with a few notes and just a stream of consciousness about all the day's hot topics, whatever it is that's happening. I don't get into politics too much, although, as we find, it is difficult to avoid the politics of any particular subject in this world we've created for ourselves. So, just buckle up and bear with me and understand I'm not a partisan dude. I think that, I'll give it to you straight. 15% on the right, they suck. 15% on the left, they suck. I don't want to have anything to do with this 30% population. Whether it's the nuts on the right who have a closet filled with team gear for their political party. What the fuck is that? People used to be worried about being a fucking dork. Now it's like, they're just like, yeah, we're dorks. It's like anyway. And then you got the 15% on the left with their fucking bones being implanted into their heads and their fucking purple and rainbow hair, burning down Tesla dealers. See, what I'm saying is there are 30% crazy people in this country, and about half of them subscribe to one political ideology and the other. The rest of us are 70%ers. We're just walking around. We're going, you know what? I like my neighbor, and I don't really give a fuck that he's got a Trump sign. I can live with it. He's funny. Or we're walking around and, you got some guy and he's like, oh, yeah, the new neighbor is the wife. She's a liberal teacher. But you know what? She's really sweet. That's who we are. That's the 70% who can do business together. And I try and do a talk radio show for that crew. It's been 5 years now, going into the 5th year. It ain't going well, but you people that are here, and I am grateful for that. So let's say hi to you folks. First in the chat room, first person I see in the chat room, it's Peter. Peter came in first. Hi, Peter. Welcome to the party. And we got April. We got Taronda. Of course, we got Taronda. Do I see anybody else? Is that it? As far as people chatting in the chat room at the moment? Those are pretty much the regulars that I can call out. There we go. I got Adam. Adam is in here. Let's see here. Let's see. Peter was the first in. Is this the first thing that somebody said? He said, Overture, cut the lights. This is it. We'll hit the high. What's he singing? Hold on. Oh, is this trivia? I like trivia. Is he singing lyrics to a song? Let me see if I can get this. Cut the lights. Overture. Cut the lights. This is it. We'll hit the heights. And oh, what heights we'll hit. On with the show. This is it. Oh, that's the old-timey song. Okay, I gotcha. There you go. I thought we were doing rock lyrics. Look at this. Tracy D is here. Jeff Daniels. That'd be cool. Jeff Daniels was here. Let's talk a little bit about Dumb and Dumber. No, let's talk about Newsroom, the Aaron Sorkin HBO show that you starred in that you were so good in. All right. All right, everybody's getting comfortable. Get comfortable. We got a big show today. We got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about. We're going to run through some of the things that are, being handled on my television set right now. President made a big speech today. Got all the generals, even the fat ones. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Got all the generals together. He said some stuff. Talk about some of the stuff that he said. Also, today we're going to talk about this looming government shutdown. Although we're not going to talk a whole lot about it because boring, and we've got way more interesting things to get to on today's show. An update from last week's ICE shooting here in fabulous Dallas. We'll give you that. I want to talk a little bit about the yogurt shop murders down there in Austin. Told you about this a few weeks ago. It's a new Netflix docuseries about these girls who in like 1990 or something got slaughtered in a yogurt shop in Austin. Like a horrible, horrible thing. And for decades and generations, there was just like no solving it. No idea. So I was telling you about it. It's fascinating. I moved here to Texas back in 2001, 2 weeks after 9/11. We were supposed to show up the week of 9/11. Yeah, that's right. We were supposed to be here in town Monday, September 10th, 2001. Or no, we were supposed to be here. We were flying in Wednesday. We were starting the next week. That's what it was. And our flights got canceled because of 9/11. So I got here in 2001. I had no idea of this horrible Texas mass murder story that happened just a few years earlier down there in Austin. The Austin yogurt shop murders have been curiously solved. After 30 years of nothing, HBO Max or Netflix or whatever runs a documentary about it, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we got a guy. Okay. I believe nothing. We'll talk about that. Also, Mike Johnson. There's like some viral stuff going on about Mike Johnson. I don't know if it's true or not, but we're going to watch this viral. It's blackmail. Mike Johnson is being blackmailed virally, and I'll tell you all about it. Again, I don't believe anything, whether it comes from our institutions, be it the Department of Justice or our Supreme Court. I don't believe anything. The presidency, the White House, I don't believe anything they say anymore. I believe even less everything that I see online. So we'll get into this Mike Johnson thing. But I don't know, man. I got thoughts, and I'll share them with you. Also, the Bad Bunny situation. I got to spend a little more time on that. We touched on it yesterday, but I got to explain to some of you who don't seem to be grasping what is happening with Bad Bunny in the Super Bowl. It ain't about you, you narcissistic little egomaniacs. Not about you. So stop hoping that Aerosmith is going to host the fucking halftime show. That ain't never going to happen again. Ever. So I'll get into that. By the numbers, in fact. We'll talk about that. Here in Texas, we suffered a loss, which ironically is something this guy is not unaccustomed to. Bruce Bochy, the lovable manager of our World Series champion Texas Rangers, will be stepping down. We'll take a look at Bruce. I like Bruce. Bruce is a good man. It's enjoyable. But I was shocked by some of the things that I learned doing a little research about Bruce Bochy, so we'll get into that. Also, there's a big Hollywood fight brewing between Pete Davidson and Walton Goggins. We'll talk about that. And if you've got youngsters, you may have heard this new Gen Alpha, Gen Z, whatever. I don't even know what it is. This new phrase that is being used for everything. We're going to find out what 6'7" means. That's right, for all of us parents. We're like, what the fuck does that mean? That's 6'7", Dad. Oh, fuck you. Don't say that. Actually, I shouldn't put that on my kid because my kid doesn't say it. And I asked him about it this weekend. I said, what is this about? And his response was interesting. But anyway, the New York Times is talking about 6'7", and I'll explain exactly what 6'7" in youth culture is all about. All that and a whole bunch more coming up on today's rant. Peter, we got to get rid of Peter's thing here. Okay, let me see here. Mikey D's here. I didn't say hi to Mikey D. Hi, Mikey. Barney, of course, Barnes is here hanging out. We love that. We don't take him for granted. Peter says, Kim, the lovely Kim and I watched that because you told us to. Can't believe they finally know who did it. Great show. He's talking about the Austin yogurt shop murders. It's on HBO Max. They solved it. It was like the perfect 7th episode. How many episodes is? I think it's like maybe 3 or 4. It's like the perfect 5th episode that they've granted us now. They solved it, finally. We'll get into all of that. The goat's here. Look at the goat. All right, goat. Goat's here hanging out. Peter says, God bless Bochy. I'll second that. He seems like a decent dude. Last night we did our, by the way, please, folks, help us out here, man. Go to the Facebook page. If you're listening on Facebook page, would you please go and just like our new page that is promoting all of our trivia events? Please. It's trash. Oh, Jesus. It's Trash Trivia Games DFW. Oh, I think that's it. I don't even know. Hold on. Button, but I was trying to blame it on Restream. It was actually me that did it. All right, is anybody here? Because I accidentally jumped off for a second. Did you guys lose me, or are we good? If we're good, we're good. Okay, last night we had our trash trivia game thing. Hold on. Yes. Trash Trivia. Here's where I need you to go on Facebook. I need you to help me out here. I need you to go to Trash Trivia Games DFW. Terrible fucking name. Seriously. Terrible name. It's like, wait, is it that? Trash Trivia Games DFW. That's where I need you to go. That's where we're going to have all of our trivia standings and all of our, weekly winners and nightly winners and all that stuff. Now, why is that important? It's important because we have a brand new sponsor of Trash Trivia. It's American Metal Whiskey. And if you're not playing trivia and registering over there or liking the page or whatever, being involved in the page, if you're not doing that stuff, then you will not be eligible for the American Whiskey Grand Prize that we're going to be on for. We're going to be doing a whole tournament here in a couple of weeks with major cash prizes, like $500 cash prizes. So tell your friends who know trivia to get over there and please like the new page, Trash Trivia Games DFW. All of the standings will be calculated there, whether it's a trivia night at Strokers, a trivia night at Back Nine like we're doing tonight, or a trivia night at Bottle Rockets in Legacy Village like we're doing on Wednesday night. All the winners are going to be put into a competition to compete for the $500 cash prize. And let me tell you, if you're real trivia players, you might want to come out and enter this contest because there has been nobody that has really stood out as a fucking one person. There is one person who is a monster at trivia, and he must get he is a bartender over at the Back Nine. I'm not going to say who he is, but he is the reason that the Back Nine team of M's Degenerates dominates every Tuesday night. No, they don't dominate every Tuesday night. I shouldn't say that. I need to give credit to the home team. The Misfits from right here in the chat room go head to head every Tuesday night with M's Degenerates. But anyway, back to M's Degenerates. One of their members used to host trivia for years. He's like a trivia freak, and he's real quiet. He's under the radar, and I'm not going to out him, but he's on that team, and he is good enough to participate in the big money American Metal Whiskey Trash Trivia Games DFW Big Money Tournament. Thank you to our friends there. Tonight, we're going to be out there at Back Nine. Back Nine, the original home of trivia. Back Nine is the best trivia night, I would say. No, not like, here's why I say it. Because Back Nine is the first contest of the week that I actually write fresh questions for. I write fresh questions for Back Nine because that's the process I've been doing. And sometimes I use some of those questions at the next day at the Bottle Rockets. So there you go. There's a little cheat sheet for you. If you come out and play at the Back Nine, you might have some of the categories already for the next night at Bottle Rockets. I don't do full categories like that. But there's a trick. Tonight, come out to the Back Nine, 7:30 p.m. It is Trash Trivia with me and Brandon and James Parker playing paper football. Holy shit. Can I be honest with you guys? This started as a joke. Our paper football tournament. We've got this like suitcase that folds up into a table, and it's an actual paper football field, like gridiron, if you will, with goalposts now and everything. We found the goalposts, which is good. We had lost them, but now we found them. So people don't have to do this anymore. But remember paper football? Remember when it was raining and you couldn't go to recess, so y'all hung out in the classroom and a bunch of you got around a big table in the back and you played paper football, you would kick it. We've got an actual paper football stadium that was built, and we play paper football. Now back to James Parker. Afternoons on WBAP 225. James Parker, I needed somebody to be the heel for paper football, the heel. Somebody that I could say, this guy's going to kick everyone's ass, right? Because you want to play to that to get people in a bar to go, I'll play them. So that's what I started doing. And I started crowing about James Parker's legendary paper football status, about how, nobody in the Chapel Hill region of Texas has ever come close to the records of dominance that James Parker put up between the 3rd and 7th grade. All of that kind of stuff. Nobody can beat James Parker at paper football was what I said. And guess what? Turns out that was fucking true. He is like 11-0. He has taken on all comers. He's like, yeah, I'm really not good at this, Pugs. I don't know why you said that. And then he runs the table on everybody. So if you think that you can beat James Parker in a game of paper football, we're going to put up some big prizes tonight at the Back Nine. There you go. Because somebody's got to knock that. He didn't even know he was good at it. And now he walks around like he's fucking Deion Sanders of paper football. That's what I'm dealing with. All right, so come on out tonight. That's the back nine. The back nine in Addison, 4060 Beltline Road. Starts out at about 7:30, and we always have prizes and fun. That one's building. I like that one. That one is, it's taking a while, but people have a good time out there at the back nine. So come one, come all. Tomorrow, maybe back nine is a little bit far for you. Maybe it's in Addison. You don't want to come that far down the tollway. I get it, and I got you, because if you're up north, tomorrow night, Bottle Rockets. Tomorrow night. Whew, I just talked for a while there. Frank says, you still going to Bottle Rockets on Wednesday? Damn straight, Frankie. I just said so. Hi, Frankie. Thank you, Peter. See, Peter's doing the show a solid. Thank you, Peter. Peter helps in many ways. And that is important because, folks, as I've been saying, this show doesn't run on good vibes alone. That's right. We need to pitch for tips once a month, and this is that week. We call it Pledge Week around here. I would like to very much thank the originals, the people who have helped us out on Monday. Boy, you know, when the show ended on Monday, I was like, oh, crap. We didn't do so good. Because I say we need to raise $50 a day, 1 week a month to keep this show going. That's it. Just $50 a day, 1 week a month to keep this show going. Well, show ended yesterday, and we had nothing. We had Peter. Thanks, Peter. Peter's awesome. And I'm like, well, that's fucking all right. Thank you, Peter. We had Peter. And I was like, man, well, that didn't get us, to the daily amount that we need. And then Barney comes walking in, and I'm like, fuck yeah, Barney. All right, thank you. Now we're closer. Look at that. Peter and Barney. It was round about that time that the Queen herself showed up. And that's right. Thank you to Tracy D, because today's show is brought to us by Tracy D, who picked up the entirety of Monday in one fell swoop. Thank you so much, Tracy. That was awesome. And thank you to, of course, Barney and Peter for the assist. We're well on our way. We're well on our way, right? We're, what is the number now? 175, I think, is the number that we need. So thank you. Thank you, folks. Appreciate you. If you want to support this kind of talk radio, the kind of talk radio that doesn't carry water for any particular partisan point of view, you can do that anytime. Keep us alive. Keep us treading water, because that's what we do around here. Drop a little something in the Venmo or in the Cash App. Thanks, folks. All right. What else do we need to talk about? Hold on. Let me see. Is there anything out of the box just here that I can talk about? Nope, don't need that open. Got a lot of stupid windows open, guys. I do apologize. Don't have the most important window open, so give me a second here. Government barrels toward shutdown amid partisan deadlock. What is that? Is that headline from 2020, 2016, 20? When is that? Because that seems like a headline that you can just reuse over and over and over again. Give me a second here. I'm pulling up my notes, pulling up my little, my little one sheet. Something is happening here, guys. Hold on. Something freaking weird is happening here. Give me a second. My computer is acting silly. Okay. Not touching anything. You see my hands? I'm not touching anything. For some reason, every time I open up my Google Drive the last 2 times, it just immediately closes on me, which is scary. Chineses or Russians? Which ones are screwing with my Google Drive? You guys know? All right. Hey, by the way, before we move on, here's something I need to mention. Let's talk about the topics or the categories for tonight's Back Nine Trivia. Again, 7:30 tonight at 4060 Beltline Road in swinging downtown Addison, Texas. Trivia contest every Tuesday night. 2 categories. Or 2 rounds, 4 categories per round. Here we go. The first round, this is for April. I do this every week for April. Here we go. Round 1. We're going to start out with a random category. We do. They can come from any genre, any category. I just like to keep you, a little light stretching. Get yourself into the trivia kind of mindset. Random will be category 1 in round 1. That's followed by one-name singers. Dude, you guys, I started researching one-name singers. I can name like 3 of them, 4 of them off the top of my head. There's like a shit ton of one-name singers. So we're going to do that as a category. That's category 2 in round 1. Category 3 in round 1, viral mania. These are all questions about things that we've experienced, things that have gone viral, whether they're memes or videos or whatever. Viral mania is category 3 in round 1 for tonight's trivia at the back 9. Then we're going to do fake places. The 4th category is fake places. It's going to be all trivia questions about places that are fake. They're not real, but maybe they've been depicted in novels or in books or in movies. Fake places is category 4 in round 1. Round 2 starts out with random again. Always start out with a little bit of don't know what category could come from anywhere. Always start out with a little bit of that. Oh, wait a second. I screwed up. All right, that's right. Sorry, let's go back to round 1. Round 1 is, category 1 is random. Category 2 is current events. I forgot current events. Category 3 is viral mania. Category 4 is fake places. There you go. That's round 1. Sorry, April. She's scribbling right now, I'm sure. Round 2 is going to be, of course, random again. Then that's followed by one-name singers. That's why one-name singers is in round 2. Then we're going with 2000s trivia. This is all trivia that we should know if we experience the early 2000s. 2000s trivia is category 3 in round 2. And then we're going to round everything out because 'tis the season. We're on the eve of October. Evil Bastards, an entire category of evil bastards. All the answers will be trivia questions. All the answers to these trivia questions will concern the deeds of evil bastards. Real, imagined, fake. It's mostly fake. It's mostly evil bastards from movies and TV and books and stuff like that. All right, those are tonight's categories. Come out 7:30 tonight, the back 9 in Addison. All right, is everything okay? All right, I think we're okay. What's Barney saying? Barney's in the chat room saying some stuff. Barney says, we've always known the Russians were going to get us, just a matter of time. That's right, Barney. We were all celebrating back when the wall came down, weren't we? We were like, we won. Oh, man, those people are, they're sneaky. They're sneaky. Not as sneaky as the Japs, right? The Japs are, can I say that now? Trump won last year. Am I allowed to say that the Japs were sneaky? Because Pearl Harbor's pretty damn sneaky. I stand by the Japs are sneaky. Didn't we have a football coach here in Texas that got fired for that? Didn't like Wade Phillips say that, well, yeah, he japped him. Like he meant he snuck up on him, but he said he japped him. And then because we were in this completely different place, everybody was like, he should be fired for being the coach because he used a term that he probably heard growing up that is no longer acceptable, but he doesn't know that because he's a football coach who stays in his office until 2 a.m. and then comes back at 6 a.m. and he has no life. Right? That's what we did to him. Was that Bill Parcells? Maybe it was Bill Parcells. Fuck it. Parcells got Super Bowl rings. He can say whatever he wants about the Japs. All right. Tracy D says, will Bottle Rockets trivia start at 8 tomorrow? Oh, my God. In fact, it will start at 8 tomorrow, Tracy D. And I would like to commend you for even knowing that that's a possibility because I haven't announced that yet. And it's been something we're playing with. But yes, Bottle Rockets tomorrow night will be at 8 o'clock. I hope to see you and your... What do you say when the husband... You can't say... I almost said, Tracy, I hope to see you and your better half. But you can't say that. Tracy, I hope to see you and your lesser half. There you go. That's the way we say it. Because it's always cool to insult a man. Not a problem. We can take it. Unless we're snowflake bitches who hang out on Twitter and complain about every little thing. Then we're not men at all. All right. Met somebody really cool last night at Strokers. I wanted to mention this because this is really nice. This doesn't happen to me a lot, but I am a human being. And so, things do feel good from time to time. And, I used to be on the radio here, and I had people that would come up to me and say, hey, I love your show and all that. And that always felt really good, even though it was kind of awkward because there really is a one-sided thing to this where, people would come up to me and they know everything about me and I don't know anything about them. And then they feel close because, that's the magic of talk radio, at least the way I think we used to do it, where you do connect with people on levels that are more than just, it's a guy I listen to. So that was always kind of strange, but it doesn't happen anymore. It happened, I've told this story, I think it happened about a year or so ago at Kroger. I was in the deli department and I was getting meat. And the deli guy goes, hey, you sound like this guy that used to be on the radio here. And I go, I used to be on the radio here. What guy? Right? I was like, what guy? Like, ooh, who do you think I sound like? And he goes, you're Pugs. And I'm like, yeah, I am, blah, blah, blah. And it was very nice, but I stopped him. Right when he said that, I stopped him. And I ran my kid, because you ever go shopping with a kid, they always linger. They're always like 20, 30 yards away doing something. So my kid was doing something, and I go, hey, get over here. And he comes over, and I pull my kid over, and I go, say that again. And the guy's like, you're dead. I used to listen to him. So my point is this. Doesn't happen at all anymore. And when it does, I would prefer it would happen around my kid, because every dad wants to show off for their kid. He can only see the TV commercials that briefly land in the moment on YouTube so many times with me screaming, see, I used to be on TV commercials. And he's like, what's a TV commercial? I don't know. Is that like a YouTube thing that you can X out of after 5 seconds? See, he doesn't even know. He doesn't even care. But last night I met Eric. Eric, we're playing trivia. I'm doing trivia. I'm up there doing trivia. And I go around after the first round and I start collecting the cards. And he goes, hey, man, are you Pugs from Pugs and Kelly? And I go, oh, man, I am. And he was so nice. But then he did something that happens a lot when people, are like, oh, I used to like your show. It happens a lot. And I never correct him. I just go with it, But he goes, man, I used to listen to you guys every day. And then he said, and I didn't buy a white van, because you guys remember your white vans are for losers campaign. Remember that? And I'm like, yeah. No, that was another show. That was a different show than ours, but he remembered it incorrectly. But I wouldn't, he's having fun. He's going down memory lane. What, am I going to be a dick about it? I'm like, yeah, that was crazy. Don't get that blue van, or whatever it was. White van. I don't even know what that was about. It might have been a Russ Martin thing, maybe even a Ron and Don thing. I don't know. Anyway, he was a nice guy. And I also want to mention this, because this has happened a couple of times with people that I've run into who are familiar with the old Pugs and Kelly show. It is okay to mention Kelly. It is absolutely all right. I love talking about her. So when you do that, it was weird. He goes, yeah, we all miss Kelly. And then it was kind of like a quiet thing, right? At the table, like the whole kind of table got kind of quiet. And I was like, yeah, we all do. And the way I said it, I didn't want to give the impression that I was brushing it off. It was awkward, and he didn't know what to say next. He was just being a human being and whatever. Anyway, it was nice. He was awesome. He works at Southwest. He's going to come out every Monday night now to Strokers Game Night, where it's not just trivia, it's music bingo. It is paper football, which we didn't do much paper football last night. But that's all right. All right. Now we can get into the actual show. Sorry about that. Got to get warmed up for the stream of consciousness, Sorry, I'm just reading some of the chat. I want to be more involved in the chat, if that is at all possible. All right, let's get into the show. Let's see here. So I woke up this morning and Trump was he standing in front of a big red, white, and blue flag like Patton? You guys ever seen the opening of Patton, George C. Scott's Patton? He's standing in front of a flag. He's giving a speech. Is that the vibe they were going for? I think it was. Anyway, whatever. I approve. It's cool. I like the Patton flag. I love Patton. That's a good movie. So Trump, this was the Hegseth thing that we've been hearing about for the last couple of days, where he called all of our top generals together, wanted them all in one place. A bunch of people are worried. What does this mean? I'm like, I don't know what any of this means. I'm just going for it. Let's just ride this roller coaster. So all the generals are there, and Pete Hegseth had a meeting with them and all that. And then Trump came out and he addressed all the generals. Let's see. Pete Hegseth, no more fat generals. There you go. No fat generals. Did we have fat generals? And hey, Pete, what about fat presidents? Because we've got an obese president. Just generals got to be in shape now? What are you going to make them climb a rope? Is this what we're going to see? Is Pete Hegseth going to be standing there in like some fucking ball-hugging gym coach shorts, and, with a whistle around his neck, making 70-year-old, full bird admirals try and climb a rope in a gymnasium. What is this going to look like? No fat generals. Oh, shut the fuck. It's okay. I get it. Again, very surface, very what it looks like, not at all what it's about, just stupid shit. But okay, fine. No fat generals. You know what that means? That means like a bunch of psycho 40-year-old officers are suddenly probably going to get promoted to the ranks of generals because they spend time in the gym with Pete. Just stop it. Why do generals need to be in shape? Generals need to sit around a table with other strategists and find out the way to best not kill American soldiers. I don't understand why we need generals, but okay. So then Trump got up. He said all kinds of things. Some of the more interesting stuff that he talked about was, the troops in our streets and all that kind of stuff. He made a statement that our enemy is within. I don't know how well that's going to go over. I've already seen that being, quoted and all of that stuff. Our enemy is within. Now, this goes along with what I've said, hearkening back to what Barney and I were just discussing in the chat room, the end of the Soviet Union. This country of ours has completely shit the bed as far as how we engage with one another ever since we stopped having a well-defined enemy. The Cold War, that was a well-defined enemy. No matter what you were in America, if you were a Democrat or a Republican or whatever, it didn't matter. You weren't a Russian, you weren't a communist. We had that in common. Then the Cold War ends, and we spend the next 40 years trying to create new enemies, and some of them were pretty easy. I think Al-Qaeda, they stepped up and took the bait. They were our enemy for a while. We had a 20-year war in the desert over that enemy, and then that enemy went away. What do we got now? We got TikTok and the Chinese. They're our new enemy. No, libs are the new enemy. No, citizens of Portland are the new enemies. We have nobody that we can all agree is the person that an American needs to dislike. So what do we do in this? Well, we turn it on ourselves. And the president said that today. The president, no uncertain terms, said that the enemy is within. I don't love that. Whatever. This is the guy who got elected. That's what he said. He's tough. Law and order, very much like the way your grandpa might handle a situation around the dinner table. Not a whole lot of depth, just a lot of, I've been around a long time and this is the best way to move forward. That kind of ideology, so that's what we're getting with him. Let's see here. American cities can be used as military training grounds. That's something else that Trump said today. Don't like that. I mean, look, urban locations, American cities have been used before for military training, but usually is not while there is an active population living their life at the same time, right? So I don't know what the president means when he says American cities can be used as military training grounds. You mean take a whole bunch of rank amateurs, well-arm them, and stick them in some gang-infested neighborhoods and see what happens? It's a learning experience. What was it that Michelle Obama used to say? Is that what Trump's going to say? It's a learning experience. Yeah, they shot 5 bangers on the corner, and they weren't really doing anything other than, being bangers, and it's a learning experience. That troubles me. What troubles me more is that I don't think there's a whole lot of people out there that truly does bother. The idea that the president is looking at our inner cities or cities in general as being training grounds for our military. I think people are like, yeah, that's all right. Those people are rats, right? Like that's an attitude. That's a default attitude that you see a lot, especially if you spend any time on social media. My city, my hometown, I choose to live here in Dallas, Texas. But the place that I was born, where I had no say in it, but I do love it. So Chicago is certainly under the microscope right now as one of the cities that the president is threatening to deploy military troops. Again, there has been incredibly aggressive ICE operations occurring in the Chicago area over the past couple of weeks, they've really stepped it up, right? That's where the problems they've really kind of gotten aggressive. One ICE agent just unprovoked shot a rubber bullet into the window of a media person or reporter who was just covering the story, like unprovoked. It's getting, we saw the video of the food delivery driver, the Grubhub guy on a bike who was taunting ICE, and then they just started chasing him for no reason. The military can't chase you. Look, a government authority isn't allowed to just chase you because you said something mean to them. All right? That is authoritarian. That is not what we're about here in this country, but that video went viral. So, the ICE and the border agent crowd is who is on the ground right now in Chicago. And also, this is my problem from yesterday. They're not actually, what are they doing? Are they doing crime enforcement, or are they, why is ICE in the middle of downtown Chicago on the Magnificent Mile on a Sunday? It's performative because that's where people will see them. That's where videos will start circulating online, right? There's no actual danger. They're not arresting people there. It was just a show of force walking around downtown Chicago. My argument is that I think that they ought to be deployed. Maybe not ICE, because I think that's a different branch. Again, let's keep these people and their jobs specific, right? ICE is not about making brutally violent neighborhoods safe. That is not what ICE is about. ICE has a different mission statement. But let me show you something. This is just something I want to show you. This is the performative bullshit that bothers me about the current operations that ICE is conducting in the city of Chicago, okay? This is another bit of performative nonsense. We showed you a bunch of videos yesterday. Well, now let me share you this one. All right, here you go. This bullshit out. ICE, these are three ICE vessels loaded with completely suited up ICE guys in their best combat ICE uniforms patrolling the Chicago fucking river. Let's watch. What are they hoping to find? A kayaker who needs assistance, who then they can ask for papers and find out they're not here legally? What are they doing on the river? Why aren't they out Look, if their job is to get illegals, why aren't they sweeping all of the restaurants and bars? You got to go in through the back because that's where they all come and go. Why aren't they doing that on Halstead Avenue? Why aren't they doing that up and down Lincoln? No, they're on a boat in the Chicago River, acting like badasses for absolutely no reason. This is a huge waste of money and resources. Why? Because it's a good picture. Stupid. All right, there you go. Our boy Frank commented. I posted that on Twitter. Pugs Moran on Twitter. I posted that on Twitter, and our boy Frank, he goes, yeah, they should take them boats to the neighborhoods that need it. And I'm like, you're missing the point. There is no need for boats, Frankie. There is no need for boats for this operation. There's no high crime on the shores or, out there, past the buoy markers. There's no crime on the Chicago River. Get off the fucking boat and do what you're supposed to be doing, or not. I don't even know. But this is nonsense. This is all designed so that it will go viral, so that people can puff their chests out and go, look at how they're protecting our cities. It's nonsense. It's nonsense created for stupid people. And I, for one, am fucking pissed. Because, as I've said over the last couple of days, I am not entirely opposed to sending in some form of militarized law enforcement into neighborhoods in Chicago that need it. This is not that. This is also not military. Again, this is ICE and Border Custom Enforcement, which, again, the fuck are they doing on Lake Michigan? There's no border. It's America. The other side is Michigan. Nowhere near a border, all right? If you're going to arrest, how about going into one of the nice neighborhoods on a Wednesday afternoon and just questioning every guy with a weed whacker? I think that I mean, if your stated goals are to round up illegals, that's probably the best way to do it. Not fucking spending an afternoon on the Chicago River in your full cosplay outfits. It's ICE. Barney asks, is that ICE or BP? It's ICE and Border Patrol, Customs Border Patrol working in conjunction. Some of those guys have uniforms that say Customs. Some of those guys have uniforms or jackets that say ICE. So it is a mix of the two, which is what's adding to all the confusion. It's just a bunch of dudes walking around in military uniforms and nobody knows what their stated mission is. And they're doing this out in front of the Hard Rock fucking cafe where there's no crime. Right. Get into the neighborhoods. Make yourselves useful, you bunch of fucking theater kids. I mean, really, that is basically what's happening right now in Chicago. A bunch of fucking theater kids. All right. What else do we have? Government shutdown. So we got a government shutdown. We're like within, a couple of hours. I got CNN on because they had the nice little countdown, but that's not going. 11 o'clock tonight. 11 o'clock our time tonight, government shuts down. Is the government going to shut down? I don't know. I don't even care at this point. I don't even know what it means. Here's what I know. I know that every year, is it every year or every couple of years? I don't know. When do they do this nonsense? Whenever they do this nonsense, we always get to the precipice of a government shutdown. Now, there have been a couple of times where the government is shut down. A couple of times where, literally everything stopped for a couple of days. Oh, the national parks are closed. And then we'll see a whole bunch of viral videos of some family from Iowa who drove all the way to the Grand Canyon. And they're like, look, I don't know anything about this. It's about budget. It's about, getting the votes and all that shit. All I know is this is a purely partisan thing. And if the government shuts down, it is going to be purely partisan in nature. It's not going to have anything to do. Well, we know this. Pugs, what are you talking about? Why are you stating the obvious? But here's the thing. It is funny how it goes back and forth, right? Like when it's a Democrat as the president, the government shutdown is entirely the president's fault. When it's a Republican, the Republicans will say that it's entirely the Democrats in Congress or whatever's fault. Now, even with Biden, Biden may have held the Democrats, if you will, may have held the executive, but they didn't hold the Senate. And they had a slim lead there in the House. So, that's not even, you can't even put that on Biden. You can't even be like, oh, it's shut down because he didn't control both. Trump fucking controls both houses. He's got the Senate and he's got the House and he's got the executive. So I'm sorry, this nonsense about how it's Adam fucking Schiff, that little boll weevil of a man, somehow it's his fault. Come on, man. You can't have it this way. There is absolutely no intellectual consistency from people on the right or the left. The government shuts down or gets to the precipice of shutting down every fucking time. And it's not one party's fault over the other. It is the cumulative nature of this two-party system where everybody's got to fuck with the other guy endlessly and nobody gives a shit about us. So go ahead. We're going to drive out to the Grand Canyon. It'll be fucking closed. We won't get mail. What is really going to happen? I mean, the government shuts down. We stop paying for things. All right. Anyway, we'll find out. What is my prediction? Here you go. Let's do my prediction. My prediction, 11 o'clock tonight. Will they reach a deal and keep the government open? Will they kick the can down the road? No, I don't think so. I think it's shutting down this time. I think we're going to wake up tomorrow. We're going to have ourselves a nice little shutdown country. All right. This is why I love Frank. Frank, what do I say about you? If you need the obvious to be stated, Frank will do it for you. Frank, why won't the Democrats just do what the Republicans want? There you have it. Good question. All right, how about this one? Hey, by the way, Channel 9 in here with a little bit of breaking news for us. I saw this earlier, but I didn't get a chance to read the story. Prosecutors in the Sean Diddy Combs case, we forgot about that. Did he or didn't he was a show, a multi-month show that I did where I covered that trial from stem to stern every single night. And we're coming up on sentencing day. It's been a few months. We've all forgotten about this thing. Coming up on sentencing day, and prosecutors are now saying, remember, he was not guilty, right? They didn't have a case on him. I told you this every night. This is some bullshit. Yes, we see the video. He beat the snot out of his girlfriend like 10 years ago. Go after him for that. But all the other things that they wanted to pin on him, that he was this global sex trafficker and all that, it was nonsense. They had no proof of it. All right, so if you're familiar with my take on that, you'll know. But I just wanted to refresh everybody's memory. So he was like not guilty, basically. Like everything important that could have caused him to go to jail for a long time was taken off the table. And now here we are getting close to when the judge actually has to consider what sentencing will be. And oh, by the way, he was denied bail after essentially being found not guilty. He had spent a year prior in prison, and he's been in prison since. So the guy's got about a year and a half under his belt of time served already. For me, that should be enough. The sentencing, when the judge takes the case, and this is a couple weeks away or next week, whatever. I think maybe a couple days. Is it this week? It might be this week. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to click on it. I just know it's coming up. The judge should say, you're released on your own recognizance, time served. He's been in prison for a year and a half for beating up his girlfriend. Right? First conviction too. That's guys who like do that a bunch of times don't spend a year and a half in prison. So he's been in prison, time served. What Judge Aram Subramanian needs to do is just say, boom, you're free. You spent a year and a half. All right, there you go. But no, the prosecutors are going for 11 years. They want 11 years more. Now, I don't know if that'll be more or if it'll be 11 years total with the time served, but holy crap. We got to watch that. I got to read that article, and then I'll have more. I got to know why they're saying it. I know one of the reasons is because he's the video where he's knocking Cassie around that we all saw. They're like, that video deserves time in prison. I'm like, well, he's been in prison for a year and a half. And what we know about Cassie is that, seemed to be okay with that. I mean, she seemed to be okay with it. She went back to him. She gave him another chance. So, I mean, I don't know. Jeff says the 90s government shutdown forced our fourth grade field trip to the Hoover Library and Museum to be canceled. He heard the teachers talking about blame Newt and Billy. Billy, who was Billy? Clinton. I just remember wondering why Billy Goats and Newts were being blamed. Oh, look at that. From the mouth of babes. Jeff Ballard. Adam checking in from the left-wing conspiracy segment of our chat room. He says, and it'll be shut down so they can close departments they don't want to be open. Well, seems like it would be an opportunity for that. Maybe the Democrats ought to make a deal. I don't know. Maybe the Republicans ought to make a deal. Let me remind you again of what Frank said. Frank said, why can't the Democrats just do what the Republicans want? Yeah. Come on, Frank. You typed that out. You said you thought it, and then you typed it out. Frank's one of my favorites, going back 20 years. All right, let's see. What else do we have? Government shutdown. We did that. We did the Diddy thing. An update on the Dallas ICE shooting from last week. A second detainee has now died, so the death total in that is now, 2, including the shooter. Says here, a second detainee from the Dallas ICE facility has died after a gunman targeted the Texas facility last week. The League of the United Latin American Citizens, LULAC, we know that here in Texas, announced in a Tuesday statement that Miguel Angel Garcia Hernandez, that's not a real name. You just said, give me 4 Mexican names in a row. Miguel Angel Garcia Hernandez, 32, died after being removed from life support. He was one of 3 detainees shot by a now deceased gunman who officials say held anti-ICE beliefs that had grown more aggressive leading up to the attack. Authorities say that. Absolutely nobody in this kid's life says that, but authorities are saying that, and it's being reported by Fox News. So it must be true. Stephanie Gauveny, the wife of Garcia Hernandez. She doesn't sound Mexican. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Stephanie is not a common name among young Mexican girls. Stephanie Gauveny, the wife of Garcia Hernandez, said in a statement that her husband was a good man and a loving father. We had just bought our first home together, and he worked hard every single day to make I can't do this. I can't. I get it. All right, second detainee has died. So let's talk a little bit about the yogurt shop murders, okay? Now, if you are familiar with this, it is a new true crime docu-series. Hold on. All right, here we go. It's a docu-series. I believe it's on HBO Max. Here we go. Is this it? Yeah. Official trailer. Just so if you're unfamiliar with this story, a lot of people, you might be like me, you moved here before or after 1990 or whatever it is, so you weren't familiar about this particular piece of Texas history. So HBO or Max or whatever we're calling it now, they made a documentary series about this horrible incident that occurred in Austin, right down the road from us here in Dallas. And I had never heard about it before, and I was absolutely mesmerized by this HBO special. Here's the trailer.
What comes up first when you think of this case?
It's been 30 years, 7 months, and 5 days, and I still can't believe it.
In 1991, 4 teenagers were shot and murdered inside a yogurt shop in this strip mall.
I don't know that the city of Austin has ever been the same.
It was just unspeakable.
The place was set on fire.
They were bringing in anybody who was a little bit different.
I killed somebody. They're using techniques that can lead to false confession.
We were asking for any tip.
People started calling me. We had so many suspects.
But it was never solved.
It's very frustrating not having answers. It has consumed me.
As time goes on, it takes a toll on you.
I got diagnosed with PTSD.
The older I get, the less I can remember.
And you just have all those regrets of not protecting them.
I don't think the trauma ever loses its potency.
There's been nothing like it before. There's been nothing like it since.
All right. Yeah. There it is. If you haven't seen it, it's very good. It's available right now on HBO Max. So I watched it a couple weeks back. And when it was over, not even when it was over, throughout the episodes, I kept just thinking, that noise. You guys still hearing something? Oh, no, there we go. I kept thinking to myself, holy crap, the Austin Police Department is unbelievably incompetent. Holy crap. They rounded up all the local weirdos, right? Because obviously the press was all over this. Huge story. 4 beautiful young teenage girls slaughtered in a yogurt shop at closing time. And then the place burns down. The bodies are naked. There is a sexual component to it. It is just really an awful story. So the media was all involved, and the Austin Police Department just went, we're on it. And they just went to the mall and rounded up every weird teenager they could find. And of course, because it was the 90s, we had very little checks and balances, but also gratefully, we didn't have social media to spread it even worse. But the media was like, oh, look at this weird 19-year-old. He obviously did it. He likes Marilyn Manson or whatever. You know, it was one of those kinds of things. As was the case for a very, my whole life growing up, every time something bad happened that a Southern Police Department was in charge of, they always went and rounded up the goth kids, right? And that's kind of what this was starting to look like. They were just going to round up people. They ruined people's lives. There's like this one guy that they profile, right? It's 30-something years, so he's like in his 50s now. It's one guy that they profile. He's obviously a spectrum surfer. He's obviously, he was a weird kid back in 91, and now he's a weird adult, except now everybody thinks that he murdered these kids and got away with it. It's just a very interesting, very fascinating look at how fear drives us to make incredibly bad decisions or to take shortcuts looking for answers. When fear is what we're trying to overcome, we will do almost anything to get past the fear. And if that means we round up a couple of weird blue hairs and call them murderers, fine, we'll all sleep better. So that's kind of what this was about. So it ended, and the whole point of this series is it's been like 30 years, and they don't have a fucking clue. Boom, series ends. And I'm like, Jesus, there's some dude out there who killed out. Cut to over the weekend. Over the weekend, again, after 30 years of having absolutely no information, nowhere to go, they didn't know what the hell, accusing the wrong people time and time again. Yogurt shop murder suspect was possible serial killer, authorities say. He's now been linked to cases across the country. So they've pinned it on a guy. After the HBO series aired and everybody was thinking, my God, the Austin police are fucking idiots. They miraculously now, after 30-something years, they're like, we got it. We solved it. Now, I know that all the other times we said we solved it, it was bullshit and it was just weird kids. But, this time, it's just a coincidence that it's weeks after. And now there's also people who are defending it because there's a lot of people who are like me who don't believe anything that comes from our institutions anymore, even local police departments. But the other side of it is, no, it checks out scientifically because this is a DNA. I'm like, oh, shut up. Shut up. Whether this guy did it or not, I don't even care at this point, but it just seems really suspect to me that after the Austin Police Department was embarrassed by this HBO Max special, like a week later or 2 weeks later or whatever, they're like, we solved it. It just, again, speaks to how far I have come as an American citizen, where I can no longer just believe what the authorities officially state. Robert Eugene Brashers is the guy. Oh, and by the way, he died in 1999, so we can't even ask him. We can't even. How convenient. Robert Eugene Brashers, who died in 1999, was named a suspect in the 1991 quadruple murder in Austin, Texas. What's this? Do I have a full report? Let's watch this. All right, I'll watch this. Here we go. Hold on, let's see what this is. All right, I didn't know there was a full report here. You can listen to me just drone on and on, or we can watch the professionals at NBC News tell us what's happening. Let's watch. Where's my sound? Do I have no sound?
Mass shooting.
Here we go.
This waterfront bar, popular with tourists, the
that's
scene
not
of
it.
another horrific
Holy
mass
crap. Give me the one about, there we go. All right, this is what we need.
Into an infamous cold case. Tonight, a stunning breakthrough. 3 decades into an infamous cold case. Tonight, a stunning breakthrough.
I know now what happened, and that does ease my suffering.
Police identifying Robert Eugene.
All right, look, let me just say, if she's satisfied, that makes me happy, because I felt so bad for the families, and especially her little sister got killed. Ugh.
Brashers as the suspect in this brutal.
This is the serial killer? Dude looks like Jan Michael Vincent from a 1980s miniseries. This guy said it must be easier if you're a serial killer like Ted Bundy or this guy. It must be easier if you're handsome, right? Especially if your prey is women, because good-looking guys can get women to do really stupid things. And if that good-looking guy also happens to be a serial killer, was Dahmer hot? Boy, that's something I never thought I'd ask. Was Dahmer hot? He was tall, thin, and blonde. He had bad, weird Dahmer glasses, but no woman would answer that, honestly. No woman. A fun woman would. A fun woman would absolutely answer, but most women would never answer that question. How about gay men? I bet you gay men will answer that question. Was Dahmer hot? I know Gacy wasn't. Okay, this is enough. It's not good. Anyway, this guy's kind of hot, if I say so. He's a serial killer. He's hot. Let's go back to the story already in progress.
Crime. Police identifying Robert Eugene Brashers as the suspect in this brutal crime. 4 teenage girls shot and burned inside an Austin yogurt shop in 1991. Investigators using DNA technology that didn't exist at the time, finding Brashers' DNA underneath the fingernails of the youngest victim, 13-year-old Amy Ayers.
Amy's final moments on this earth.
So this all checks out scientifically. If we were in better times in this country, I would go, okay, that makes sense. So they didn't have a way to check the DNA that were under her fingernails until recently. And now they do. So they went back and they checked it, and they can connect it now, through DNA to this. That checks out to me. I'd be like, yeah, that's probably true. Problem is, it's 2025, and I don't believe any of this shit from any of these people. I am lost.
If we're to solve this case for us, it's because of her fighting back.
The discovery comes just weeks after HBO put the case back in the national spotlight with a new series
coincidentally
on the murders. Brashers died by suicide during a standoff with police in a separate incident in 1999. Police call him a serial killer. In 1985, he was sentenced to 12 years in prison for attempted murder, but was released on parole after fewer than 4 years. Officials link his DNA to at least 3 other killings.
Austin lost its innocence the night those young souls became victims. Today, we have some closure.
Some families finding solace after decades of despair.
The justice system has failed the girls numerous times over the decades. The pain that you have endured over the decades can never be healed, but I hope you can stop asking who did this to your girls.
And Hallie, investigators say they're not finished yet. They'll now see if they can link Brashers to yet more crimes.
All right, there you go. All right, there's the yogurt shop murders in Austin. Here's what I'll say about that. The most important thing here are the families left behind, okay? Because to everyone else, the Austin yogurt shop murders was a TV show. It's a TV show. We watched it. We didn't know those girls. We've never been in that yogurt shop. But to the family who were featured, the families, plural, who were featured, and I'll also say some of the original investigators who I thought came across as very sincere and genuine. Just not really good at their jobs, but sincere. They were horrified by it. It was a horrible situation. If the family, as we saw in that clip there, if the families are like, this brings us closure and peace, then I am all for it and I am fine. But I am privately cynical, right? Privately cynical. But the most important thing right now in this whole case, because nobody really cares, it's a curiosity to the rest of us. I wonder why they didn't solve that. But to the families, it's an ongoing thing that hangs over them. So if they now have some closure because of this, wonderfully. But I'm going to be privately cynical about it. Because again, it's 2025. I don't trust anything that comes out of the institutions, and I hate myself for it. But it's where we are. What else do we have here? Oh, let's move on to this. All right. So we're on the verge here. We're on the verge. We're on the precipice. We're on the eve, of a government shutdown. We talked about that a little bit earlier. We're also, I am very confused because, see, I don't live online and I don't lurk in weird political sections of online and all that stuff. So I had never before heard these rumors about Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. And again, I say this is all time very interestingly because we're on the precipice, as I say, of a government shutdown, and Mike Johnson is the Speaker of the House, someone who's very important in that whole process. So for this to come out now and for this threat to be, all right, wait, I don't want to give away anything yet. My point is this. I've always looked at Mike Johnson a little bit. There's something a little bit different about him. I can't really tell. And then a while back, it dawned on me. Here's what's different about Mike Johnson, our Speaker of the House. He's got a little Kevin Spacey energy. He's got a little, there's a Kevin Spacey vibe to him. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, has a Kevin Spacey vibe, okay? I'm stating that right now. And I've thought that for a while. I've been like, that's what it is. It's like this weird, like says all the right things, seems very polished and very practiced, but there is something going on there. All right. So now let's move across to this guy. There's this guy. He's out there. He's online. I say I don't know what the hell to believe online, but this guy, this seems pretty ballsy if it's not true at all. Let's check out this guy. He's gone viral. He is threatening Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, here on the eve of a government shutdown. Let's see what this guy has to say about Speaker Mike Johnson.
Hey, here's a message for Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. Pay attention, bud. This is for Mike Johnson. If you're not Mike Johnson, you can keep scrolling or you can stay here and listen to what I have to say. Hey, Mike, you have until Wednesday to swear her in. Wednesday. Or I will release your Grindr profile and your IP address. I bring receipts, bitch. You're not.
All right, wait a second. First of all, what is he talking about? You have until Wednesday to swear her in. Is he talking about the new rep from the special election in Arizona? I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about here. Like I said, I don't involve myself in this nonsense, especially not the minutia of the partisan ideology. So I don't know exactly what this guy is talking about.
Going to address. I bring receipts, bitch. You're not going to sit there and actively work against LGBTQ rights and democracy. It is treason. Yeah, I'm calling you out for treason. You have until Wednesday to swear her in and let democracy take its course, or I will release your Grindr profile and your IP address.
What?
Connects both to you, Mike. The choice is yours. Do the right thing. Because I'm petty. And I'm not above this bullshit. Yeah. Go fuck yourself.
There you go. That's the threat being made. It's gone viral over the past 24 hours. Guy says that he's got Mike Johnson, Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives. Speaker Johnson, he says he's got his Grindr account with photos, and he's got his IP. I don't know. I'm not a computer guy. I don't know what that has to do with anything other than maybe placing it at a location that he is responsible for. I don't know. Now, going back to what I said, do I believe that this is possible? 100%. Because as I said, it's that Kevin Spacey thing, man. Kevin Spacey always had this sort of like vibe, this way he carried himself, where he wasn't exactly manly, but he wasn't feminine. It was just like this sort of weird space that he inhabits in the middle. Mike Johnson is that same vibe, that same kind of energy. Like, you don't look at Mike Johnson and go, that man can fuck his wife. You don't. You don't look at him that way. You're like, they have a very boring sexual relationship. Why? Because I think he might be turned on by other things. I think if you're asking me right now, is it possible that Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, is gay or on the down low or has a secret Grindr account that this one-off lunatic on Twitter is threatening to expose by Wednesday? I got to say, yeah, I believe it's possible. Hell yeah. This is stupid. Grindr's the gay one, right? Grindr, there's a whole bunch of them. Like, there's so many apps. I don't know. I don't do the dating apps. Grindr's the gay one, right? What's Tinder? Tinder, there's Tinder, right? There's Grind. Is Tinder still a thing? I don't know. Do people use Match.com? Is that still a thing? I don't know. eHarmony. There you go. I'm from the eHarmony generation. I've never done any of those. I've never done any of those. I meet people in person. I meet people places and, I do it old school. I guess, the creepy way where you actually try and meet someone and get to know them face to face in real time. Creepy shit. So I don't know. But that's fun. Let's put a pin in that, and let's circle back tomorrow and see if Mike Johnson's Tinder account and his IP have been released by that lunatic. But come on. You know that Mike Johnson's, there's something different about him. Smithersy, right? Smithersy, very, God, man, you see the way that guy looks in a suit? Not Smithers, Mike Johnson. He is so tightened up. He's like not a hair out of place. Everything is just perfect. And look, man, I'm just saying. Those are all tells. By the way, I wanted to bring this up. We were talking one story ago, about the Austin yogurt shop murders being pinned on a long dead serial killer by the name of Robert Eugene Brashers. I found his Wikipedia page. Let's check out what Robert Eugene Brashers was all about. Here we go. Let's check. I want to see, because they're like, oh, he's a serial killer. So I've never heard of him. We've never heard of him. There he is again. The old hottie from the donut shop murders. Robert Eugene Brashers, born in 1958, died in 1999, was an American serial killer, mass murderer, and rapist who committed at least 7 murders between 1990 and 1998 in the states of Missouri, South Carolina, and Texas. He died by suicide in 1999 to avoid arrest for an unrelated crime. During his life, Brashers was not identified as a suspect in any of his murders, and he remained. Oh, he seems like he's just a real convenient cold case savior. Hey, let's put it on this guy. They could probably do that. They could probably just pick one guy and then decide that they can link all. He's dead. They'd link all these things to him so they can clear their cold case dockets or whatever. I don't know. Why am I so cynical? Is there a personal life? I always love it when they do personal lives on Wikipedia. Crimes. All right, let's get into his crimes. In late fall of 1985, Brashers was arrested in Port St. Lucie in Florida, right? On charges of assaulting a 24-year-old woman named Michelle Wilkerson. Brashers met Wilkerson in Fort Pierce and convinced her to accompany him to a bar. Of course he did, because he's hot, and women like hot guys. He met her, he asked her to, Fort Pierce, and convinced her to accompany him to a bar. After spending their evening there, he took Wilkerson to a dark alleyway near a citrus grove, where after drinking 6 Budweisers together, he attempted to make sexual advances towards her. See, he's good looking. Like, most serial killer guys can't get a chick to leave the bar and then go drink warm beers in a field, right? You got to be hot for that. The chick's got to be at least kind of attracted to him. Wilkerson refused and attempted to leave Brasher's vehicle, after which a fight ensued between the pair, during which Brasher shot Wilkerson twice in the neck and the head. Oh, he's... God. What else did he do? Suicide. Let's find out how he died. On January 13th, 1999, police officers noticed that a stolen vehicle had been parked in a parking lot of a Super 8 hotel in Kennett, Missouri. After speaking with motel personnel, it was established that Brashers and his family, had arrived in that vehicle just days earlier. Officers then broke down the door and found him hiding under a bed with a loaded gun. But when they attempted to arrest him, he started resisting and opened fire. The officers were forced to retreat and called for backup. Within a few minutes, the motel grounds were surrounded with police cars while Brashers took his wife, daughter, and 2 stepdaughters hostage. After hours and hours of negotiations, he released the 4 hostages and then shot himself in the head. All right, happy ending. Anyway, that's the guy, Robert Brashers. That's the guy that they're saying is responsible now for the donut shop murders. All right. Let's talk a little bit about Bad Bunny, because I glossed over it yesterday. Bad Bunny has been named as the halftime entertainment for the Super Bowl, and a bunch of people are mad. When I say a bunch of people, I mean people on the right. Why are they mad? Well, they're mad because Aerosmith or Brooks and Dunn or somebody like that hasn't been named as the halftime. Dude, let me tell you something. Here's something that I realized about 20 years ago, and maybe you're younger than me, so maybe it's just now starting to dawn on you. Here's what I realized about 20 years ago. There will never be a Super Bowl halftime show that I will know the words to the songs to ever again. ever again. It's not going to happen. Why? Because I have aged, and we and most of the people who are complaining online about bad money, we have aged out of what is the most desired demographic among advertisers. Advertisers who are Super Bowl advertisers. And we know what that means. It means the most expensive 30 seconds in all of broadcasting. Okay? It's big money. Big, big money. Now, if you are an advertiser and you are going to put that money up and you are going to front the Super Bowl and pay for the halftime and all that stuff, we are talking millions upon millions and millions of dollars. If you are that company, who do you want to reach? Do you want to reach a 50-year-old guy who loves fucking Van Halen? Why can't Van Halen reform? Do you want to reach that guy? No, you don't want to reach that guy. That guy, me, you, we have aged out of who the advertisers are trying to reach. Why? Because we are not still developing buying habits. We are not developing brand allegiances the way 17, 18, 19, and 20-year-olds are, okay? That is the only reason that Bad Bunny is hosting or the Super Bowl halftime guy. That's it. The only reason. It's not some grand conspiracy against white people, okay? It is exposing how fucking stupid a lot of people are, that they don't understand that the Super Bowl is about reaching the largest audience possible. And if you are an advertiser, you don't want 50-year-olds. You don't want 40-year-olds. You don't want people with families and shit. Because again, buying and spending habits and brand loyalties have already been well established. Do you think, name any random 45-year-old that you know, okay? Think of them. Think of this 45-year-old person that you know. And maybe you go to bars with him or whatever. Think of the beer that he drinks, okay? Is a TV commercial suddenly going to get him to change 40 years of loyalty to Bud Light or Miller Lite or whatever? No, because his brand loyalty and his habits are already established. This is advertising and marketing 101. Bad Bunny reaches young people. And just because you're like, I don't even know who he is, let me tell you who Bad fucking Bunny is. He is the most downloaded artist on Spotify 3 years in a row, ending 2024. And 2024, and we don't know this year, he was top 3. In 2024. He is a major global superstar that your kids and grandkids know. It's the only reason that he is hosting the Super Bowl halftime show. He is fucking massive. Do you even know what Spotify is? You know, that would be a question I would ask somebody who's very angry. Well, you know, I thought that maybe they were going to reform Grand Funk Railroad for this Super Bowl performance, but now they're going with this Bad Bunny who nobody knows. Try and be more fucking myopic, you idiot. Nobody knows. No, what you mean is nobody that you know talks about Bad Bunny. Stop it. I see Andy, what's his name? Fucking Cumia? Fucking a guy I used to know. Anthony Cumia. He's like, this is because Jay-Z's in charge, and Jay-Z's a racist, and there hasn't been a white performer. And oh, fuck you, man. Jay-Z is a fucking corporate sellout. That's the worst thing that I could say about Jay-Z. He's doing the bidding of the major Madison Avenue advertisers who want to make sure that their messages are received by young people. I don't know what to tell you. Who do you want? Bruce Springsteen? That ain't going to do anything for the advertisers. So, I mean, look, you can get angry and you can think that everything is some sort of direct fucking assault on you and who you are, or you can be like me 20 years ago who went, I guess I'm not desirable to advertisers anymore, and move the fuck on with my life. That's it. Move the fuck on with my life. All right, thank you. There you go. That's the Bad Bunny thing. They want young people. They want the next generation of fan. You know, they want the next group of people who, when they turn 50, will sit around and complain that Cardi B isn't doing the halftime. Why can't we do Cardi B this year? Because Cardi B is now 60 and nobody wants to fucking see her. It's cyclical, man. But now, this particular cycle, we have social media. So all of us can wet our pants publicly and be, wah, wah. Shut the fuck up. Be smarter. Ugh. All right, let's keep going. Bruce Bochy, the Boch. Bruce Bochy, World Series manager of your Texas Rangers. I know it was a couple of years ago, and I know things ain't been so great. But the Boch is gone. The Boch is done. He had a 3-year deal. The 3-year deal is over. He won't be coming back. The Rangers were kind of ass this year, although not really. 81 and 81. That ain't ass. That's not bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's also not bad. It's not good. It's not bad. It's quite literally 500. It is quite literally not good or bad. So Bochy is stepping down. Here, remember this? This is how we remember Boch, right? Check this out. This guy, what a lovable walrus of a man. Here we go. This is how I choose to remember him. Go for it.
I know we got some work to do, but you celebrate big victories, and this is a huge one. We started spring training. We're heading to the postseason. Enjoy, savor this. Got a little more work to do. We're going to celebrate, though. Congrats on going to postseason, everybody. Here we go.
Look at that. Good times. Got other videos here, but we don't need to show anymore. Just an example. He's just a good guy, right? There was nothing special about that. Now that I watch it, I'm like, I should have watched that before. It was kind of a waste of time. Had I watched it before, I'd have been like, yeah, I'm not going to share this. He doesn't do anything special. I just thought it was Bruce Bochy material. Here's the thing that I discovered about Bochy. Do you guys realize that, he's like retiring, right? Like if he retires right now, do you know that his career record is under 500? He's got 2,252 wins. He's got 2,266 losses. I would have never thought that. Do you know that he's in the top 5 of losingest managers of all time? Bruce Bochy. Bruce Bochy is on the all-time losses list. Now, that is not, when you see who else is on that list, that's not a damning thing, because in order to have the all-time number of losses to make this list, you have to have been employed for a very long time. You've had to have played in a whole lot of games. Here's the all-time losses list. It's led by Connie Mack at 3,948. Now, this is dead ball baseball. Connie Mack, one of the original superstars of baseball managers. He's a legend. He's an icon of the sport of baseball. Connie Mack is the losingest manager of all time. Second place is Tony La Russa. Tony La Russa is the second losingest manager of all time. Again, I think this has to do with Tony La Russa. He managed for like 30 years, off and on, or whatever the deal is. Number 3 on the list of losingest manager of all time is Bobby Cox, the great Atlanta Braves manager for all of those years. And when I say all those years, I mean my entire life. I mean, I still think of Bobby Cox as the manager of the Atlanta Braves. Bobby Cox, great manager, number 3 on the list of losingest managers of all time. Number 4 is John McGraw at 1,948. Again, John McGraw, another icon like Connie Mack. John McGraw was Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig's manager, right? John McGraw, 1,948 losses. And then that brings us to Bruce Bochy. Bruce Bochy, he is next on the list. 2,000. Wait, is this out of order? Whatever. Bruce Bochy is 5th all-time losses, 2,266. There you go, 2,266 losses. Anyway, we're going to miss Bochy around here. They say they've offered him a job with the front office, but who knows if he's going to take that. He might go full Donnie Nelson. You know what? My wish for Bruce Bochy, he's like 70, 71 years old. Go full Donnie Nelson. Go move to Hawaii, grow your hair out, start smoking weed, start waking bacon, because that's what Donnie Nelson is doing. Donnie Nelson is waking up every morning, his 85-year-old ass, and he's smoking a big old joint on the beach in Hawaii. He is loving it. That's what I wish for you, Bruce Bochy, here as you ride off into baseball sunset. Here's another interesting thing. Got a bit of a celebrity beef going between 2 celebrities that a lot of people like. I only like one of these. Nah, you know what? I don't want to say I only like one of these guys. Here's what I'm going to say. Huge, massive fan of one of these guys. One of these guys in my book can do whatever the hell they want. I'm going to be there in the front row watching it. The other guy, I'm just like, yeah, he's okay. Yeah, right? So that's how I feel. All right? So again, not extremes. It's not, I like this guy or fucking hate. No, it's, I really like this guy. And the other guy is, yeah, he's fine. I don't have any hatred for him. Pete Davidson and Walton Goggins are somehow going at it in the media. Pete Davidson ran his mouth and said something that was pretty offensive to Walton Goggins. If you don't know, Pete Davidson, of course, of Saturday Night Live, he exploded on Saturday Night Live for absolutely no reason, nothing talent-based. Pete Davidson did not perform in many sketches. He would, Pete Davidson, for the first 2 years that he was on Saturday Night Live, he showed up on the Weekend Update desk with a guitar and basically did Adam Sandler type stuff. But Pete Davidson was not a master of creating characters. No. Thing is, when Pete Davidson was just a totally forgettable afterthought on Saturday Night Live, he started dating famous women and became a big star in the tabloids. So Lorne Michaels, knowing what he had, said, why don't we start sticking him in sketches and stuff? So we started to see more Pete Davidson there. He would continue to just explode over the course of about a 5-year period into one of the most talked about celebrities in Hollywood. And I was consistent going, why? Why? Because hot chicks dig him? Because he's dating famous hot chicks who are like 10 times more famous than him? Now suddenly we have to pretend like he's... There were people going, the 5 greatest people in Saturday Night Live history. Number 1, Pete Davidson. And I'm like, what? So I don't have any hatred for Pete Davidson. I just have a bit of a resentment, though. I'm like, what? Kyle Mooney. Kyle Mooney was on Saturday Night Live around the same time as Pete Davidson. Kyle Mooney was hysterical, but he was weird looking, so no hot chicks or pop stars wanted to date him, so he didn't get to be famous. But Pete Davidson did, and, I got to be honest. Pete Davidson is kind of on the decline right now. I would say that in October of 2025, Pete Davidson, what are the arrows doing? They were green up for, a lot of the previous years. I would say that Pete Davidson, the arrow is down and it's not red, but it's orange in October of 25. If we're talking about Hollywood hot, Hollywood bankability. I would say that Pete Davidson, as compared to where he was just a year ago, is probably downtrending. He hasn't dated a famous woman in quite some time. I mean, I don't know what he is supposed to do with his career. Conversely, Walton Goggins appears to be everywhere, and everybody seems to love Walton Goggins. Now, there is no comparison from me looking at the abilities and talents of a Walton Goggins and the abilities and talents of a Pete Davidson. Walton Goggins is an apex level performer. Walton Goggins has been mind-blowingly fascinating in every role he has ever done, and every role that he does is some completely different character. Whether it was Venus the Penis, the transsexual prostitute on Sons of Anarchy, or Baby Billy on The Righteous Gemstones. Walton Goggins is a freaking genius. He creates these characters, he loses himself in them, and yet he's so good, you never forget it's Walton Goggins. Probably the giant horse teeth. The giant horse teeth always shine through. Anyway, Goggins is brilliant. So Pete Davidson goes on this podcast, because these shit-talking examples always come from podcasts. Here's what it says. Walton Goggins is embracing his popularity despite Pete Davidson predicting that fans will eventually grow tired of him. Goggins, 53, took to Instagram on Sunday to share a Hollywood Reporter article about Davidson, who's 31, discussing the actor's resurgence of fame on Theo Von's This Past Weekend podcast. Okay. So Pete Davidson was on Theo Von's podcast, and they were talking about Walton Goggins. Okay. The Saturday Night Live alum discussed Pedro Pascal's meteoric rise before throwing Goggins' name out there as well. Here's the quote that Pete Davidson said on Theo Von's podcast. Pete said, look at Pedro Pascal right now. 2 years ago, he's a hardworking, great actor. Then he fucking blows up so fucking hard, Davidson said during the interview. Continuing now, more of a quote from Davidson. And then a year later, he's like in everything. Pedro Pascal is in everything now. And everyone's like, go the F away, dude. They're going to do that with Walton Goggins too, I bet. I bet he's going to be next. All right, so that's what Pete Davidson was talking about. Sounds like Pete Davidson is speaking from experience. I don't know the context of how the question was asked, but Pete Davidson certainly was red hot for a period of time and then kind of faded. So, maybe he is speaking from experience on this. And he's using these examples of two incredibly hot and popular stars, Pedro Pascal and Walton Goggins. Kind of just threw Walton Goggins in there as an afterthought, but then he doubled down by going, no, he's next. He's going next. It says here, Goggins, Walton, for his part, then shared a screenshot of the article via Instagram, as well as several photos that captured his global travels, in addition to a lengthy caption. Goggins said, I saw this article and had to respond. Pete was talking about his own experience. Goggins wrote, Pete, we don't know each other, but I appreciate the heads up. Noting that he agreed with Davidson on one thing, how great a man and actor Pascal 50 is. Goggins addressed the fame he's seen since appearing in his recent TV series, The White Lotus and Righteous Gemstones. He said, here's Goggins, as a 53-year-old, I'm acutely aware that every experience has a shelf life. I appreciate so many of you going on this journey with me. I imagine a lot of you, and I don't blame you, are tired of hearing my homilies. Trust me, I'm tired of saying them, Goggins wrote. Goggins also encouraged fans to, quote, not click on something with my name on it. But if they did, he would appreciate the support. Being included in this headline isn't a curse. It's a blessing, Goggins said. How lucky I am this is even possible, he wrote. Way more than a poor kid from Georgia would have ever had the audacity to imagine. I wouldn't take one moment of it back, said Goggins. Good for him. Of course not. Man, let me tell you something about Walton guy here. Let me show you Walton. People might not know who he is. And if you don't know who Walton Goggins is, I'd be like, where have you been living? Look at that glorious son of a bitch. Look at that guy. Let me tell you something about this guy. I am so excited for him because you know what? Everybody knows who Walton Goggins is now. Whether it's those crazy YouTube commercials for Goggins goggles that I see he's funny. He's always been funny. But man, Walton Goggins, we had Walton Goggins on the old Pugs and Kelly show like 16, 17 years ago, fairly regularly, because all of us on that show loved the series The Wire. The Wire was The Shield. The Shield was an FX show and nobody was watching it. And so me and Eric and even Kelly, we would talk about The Wire or The Shield. Fuck. Okay, I don't want to do that. And, these guys weren't famous. Michael Chiklis was in that show and they weren't famous. But Chiklis was the most famous. Walton Goggins certainly wasn't. So he would come on our show and he was terrific. And then I would follow his career after that. He played Shane Vandrell, a hillbilly, dirty as a fucking gutter LA police officer. He was corrupt. That's who Walton Goggins first played, an evil guy. And he was amazing. Then I start to watch him. Then the next thing he does, he's playing Venus the Penis, the transsexual prostitute on Sons of Anarchy who falls in love with Tig and who Tig falls in love with. And I'm like, no way, that's Shane Vandrell. Shane Vandrell is a monster. Venus the Penis is hysterical. And then there was everything else. There was Vice Principals. Then he was in The Hateful Eight. He fucking stole the film The Hateful Eight. And people still didn't know who Walton Goggins was. Then The Righteous Gemstones come along. Baby Billy becomes a household name. And now all of a sudden everybody knows. What's that other one? The zombie thing on HBO that he stars in? Fallout. He's the star of Fallout. He's the star of White Lotus. Think of that. In 1 year, he was the star of Fallout, which is something that everybody's kid knows. You know, if you're under 20, you watched Fallout or are familiar with the video game and you watch the HBO series. He's got that. Then he's got everybody's parents because of the right gemstones. He's Baby Billy. All the parents know who he is. And then he's got like the young hipsters, like, you know, the 20-something hipsters who are watching The White Lotus. In 1 year, this dude has absolutely cornered every genre of Hollywood. Look at that gorgeous son of a bitch with big giant forehead and horse teeth. There you go. Pete Davidson and Walton Goggins are beefing. All right, what else do we have here? You know, I'm going to end it with this. Let's end it with this. Get out here a little bit early today. Once again, though, I do want to thank our executive producer. Today's show has come to us entirely because of the kindness of Tracy D. That's right. Our show is brought to you by Tracy D with solid assists from our guy Barney and Peter. Thank you, folks. It is Pledge Week. Help us out if you can. Also, don't forget, what's tonight? It's Tuesday. So what does Tuesday mean? Tuesday means trash trivia over at the Back Nine, 4060 Beltline Road. Come one, come all. The Back Nine. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you to everybody who's tipped. I don't know if anybody has tipped during today's show, but it would be greatly appreciated. We will make it this month. I feel we will. No, thank you, Frankie. Frankie in the chat room. He's like, thank you, Pugs. I'm like, no, thank you, Frankie. We'll get rid of that. Oh, by the way, that's right. All of our trash trivia events are brought to us by our friends at American Metal Whiskey. American Metal Whiskey, proud sponsor of Trash Trivia. I'm so smooth. I'm so smooth with that shit. All right. That's 6-7. What's going on? What are you doing over there? 6-7. Hey, what are you thinking about for dinner? I don't know. I don't know what to make. What do you want for dinner? 6-7 be awesome. So this is something that we're experiencing with young people, right? And again, I want to make this perfectly clear. Not my kid, but my kid did explain it all to me. My kid doesn't use this word. My friend's kid does. My friend Dominic, my buddy E, the artist, you know, who runs the E gallery here, his kid is all about the 6-7, but he's a couple of years younger than mine. Mine's now like, you know, in high school, like the upper grades of high school, and he's trying to be cool about everything. And that's a little kid thing. You know what I mean? That kind of deal. So my kid who is 16 doesn't do the 6-7, but I do own another kid who's 13 who does it all the time. So this has caused parents over the last couple of months to be like, what the fuck is 6-7? Because whenever you try to get an answer out of your kid, what does that mean? What are you talking about? They just laugh at you. They just like, and it's so weird. And it's finally being answered. I've seen this story now circulating a couple of places. I believe over the weekend, it was the New York Times who first put it out. It's been picked up by a number of different sources. The one that I'm going to give you today, I think, comes from USA Today. But there are a number of people who are out there trying to explain to us grown-ups what 6-7 is, what it means, how to use it, what kids are intending when they say it. Let's get into the mystery of 6-7. Are you ready? Here's the mystery of 6-7. Are you prepared? Because it's a big one. Let's let April tell you. There you go. April's got it. That's the mystery of 6-7. The kids are trolling us. It doesn't mean anything. They use it absurdly instead of grunting or instead of whatever they would do. It means nothing. It is designed to create chaos and confusion among older people who aren't sure exactly what their child is talking about. That is what 6-7 means. Let me give you the story here. Again, I say this one comes from USA Today. So they're attempting, and I read the New York Times one too over the weekend, so I'll bend in some of that if any of the information is different. Here's the headline. What does 6-7 mean? Here's why kids are saying 6-7 over and over and over. Are these some examples? Some video examples? Yeah. Okay, what is this? That's not even a video. All right, never mind. I thought there were some TikToks. I don't spend nearly enough time on TikTok, and I must start spending time on TikTok, because for the music show that we're doing, it is very the delay in getting the music show going is because I need a crash course in how to do TikToks, because TikTok is going to be an incredibly important aspect of the new music show that we're going to be streaming live every day. Parents everywhere are lightly frightened to count to 10 in their own homes, lest they tempt their children by getting to the numbers 6 and 7. If that means nothing to you, then you've successfully avoided the 6-7 meme. Congrats to you and your blissful offline life. But for the logged on masses, kids saying 6-7 to everything has simply become a fact of life. And yes, that is pretty much it. People are just saying 6-7 in a particular cadence, and that is the meme. It's everywhere right now, and it has a somewhat peculiar origin story. All right, so where does it come from? It doesn't mean anything. It is a troll. They are just trolling us. They want us to be confused as to what it means, because it doesn't mean anything. How the 6-7 meme started. It says here, in short, the meme comes from a rap track originally called Doot Doot by Skrilla. Okay. So the 6-7 thing originates from a rap track called Doot Doot by Skrilla, during which he sings 6-7 in the familiar cadence. Know Your Meme, which is apparently is a very important website. Know Your Meme notes, this is likely a reference to a street in Philadelphia. Okay, so the 6-7 in the song Doot Doot by Skrilla is likely a reference to a street or neighborhood in Philadelphia. But the meme isn't really the meme we all know, and the reason that the kids are saying it now isn't really in reference to the song. Not really anyway, because it originates from TikTok. TikTok virally relies heavily on sound. And people used the song, the Skrilla song, to make edits of basketball players. Most notably, 6'7" tall LaMelo Ball. These LaMelo Ball 6-7 videos took off. All right, so it's a Skrilla song where he says 6-7. Then people who were doing NBA Twitter or TikToks, I should say, with TikTok, you can use music. It's a pull down thing, and they allow you to, score your thing. And basketball TikTokers began using that Skrilla 6-7, blah, blah, blah. Then it was used with LaMelo Ball, and that one kind of stuck. So it seems to be just happenstance, doesn't mean anything. But the meme isn't really in reference to the song, not really anyway. TikTok virally relies heavily on sounds, and people began using that song to make edits of basketball players, most notably 6'7" tall LaMelo Ball, which took off. Okay. From there, as memes typically do, the whole meaning and use of 6-7 evolved rapidly. The most important iteration involved a kid at a basketball game. All right, here, I think we can show this one. This is the one. All right, so this is the most famous 6-7, and this is the one that I got referenced to by the 13-year-old in my life who says it. All right, here it is. All right. Right? All right, one more time. Damn kids. Hold on, I don't even know. Is it shown? All right, never mind. Whatever. You heard it, all right? So that's the video. It's the kid at a basketball game. Looks like a high school basketball game. He looks at the camera. He goes, yeah, 6-7. And that kid probably made, I don't know, $1 billion off of the 50 million shares that guy. I don't understand this world anymore, you guys. I'll tell you, I don't understand this world anymore, but there is some solace that I take. I don't feel nearly as bad about not being successful in this new world because I don't get it, and I don't think anybody does, and it seems to be all just happenstance and luck. That's it. That kid is now the famous 6-7 kid. His podcast will probably right out of the box get 1 million fucking listeners. It's the 6-7 kid from TikTok. He's got some takes on the world. So what is the 6-7 meme? In short, it's nonsense. Doesn't mean anything. It's silly. It's filler. and it's fun for kids to say. The meme isn't really about the song or about basketball or about height or even really the numbers 6 and 7. It's taking any excuse to be silly. So if someone says 6'7", 6'7", or 67, then you have the opportunity to do the meme. Or you can just do the meme because it's funny to say. We've written blah, 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 blah. In the past, TikTok has a unique ability to shape language among kids. That's especially true. Young people have always relied on creating their own shared language, but the TikTok generation is able to do it overnight. You can go from a rap song to a basketball player to a kid at a game to an entirely new, extremely viral phrase in no time at all. And that is the story of 6'7". So if your kid says 6'7" to you or refers to something as 6'7", remember, he's not actually opining on whatever the situation is. He's fucking with you. He just wants you to ask him, what does that mean? So that he can then laugh at you. There you go. I've done my duty, parents. I hope you appreciate that. It's all the damn Tylenol is what Barney says. Barney's absolutely right. Absolutely right. Barney also says we had dumb stuff as kids, but at least we knew what it meant. Yeah, like we had languages, right? But I think that a lot of the things that we said, like a lot of the lingo, like Gen X lingo or anything like that, I think a lot of that we still use. I think we've incorporated it into our everyday life. Like, for instance, right? We didn't always say dude. We did not always say dude. Dude is something that is now as common to us as and, the, if, but, dude. Dude is something that we say all the time now. That I remember starting to become a thing that we said mid-'80s. Mid-'80s, it was certainly after Fast Times. It was Spicoli and his dude that made everybody go, I'm going to start saying dude. I think dude was a phrase that maybe started on the West Coast but didn't really take off. But now we started saying dude in the 80s. I remember my mom saying, don't dude me. What is dude? I'm like, dude, come on, dude. But it meant something. It meant man. Right? It wasn't like 6'7". It wasn't just designed to troll you. What else? I mean, there were phrases that we had, right? Okay, any of my Gen Xers in the chat room, can you help me here? What are some of the phrases that we had? To the max, right? See, here's an interesting thing. I really don't know if maybe some of the Gen X phrases that I used were regional phrases. Were there different youth slang and youth phrases depending on the region? And I ask that because that's not a thing anymore because of TikTok, right? Or because of Twitter. There are no regions. Young people from coast to coast are connected and interacting and sharing. So it's not like, oh yeah, that's something they say on the East Coast. But we used to say, I didn't because it's a to the max. Oh, to the max. It was awesome. How'd you like the movie? Oh, it was awesome to the max, right? That was something. That didn't stick around. That's stupid. Grody. Grody was another one. Ooh, that's grody. Oh, what is, that's grody. Grody was one that we used. We don't use grody anymore. KB says rad. Yeah, that's rad. That's rad. And our parents, didn't they call things boss? That's so boss. And hippies also used to say super. We didn't really say, that's super. Oh, how super. We didn't really, our generation didn't use super. Barney says, Barney's got one. What's this one? Yeah, absolutely. Younger people. Here you go. Barney says shizzle. That's millennials. Those people in their mid 40s, late 40s. Used to do the whole Snoop Dogg thing where you would just add, and that's a good example, Barney. Shizzle's a good example because that's kind of absurdist too. It's just a grotesque bastardization of the pronunciation of a word using, the Snoop Dogg alphabet, which is a bunch of Z's. Peter says, peace out. Peace out. Yeah, do we still use that? I feel like I would still use that. I feel like I would still be like, peace out. I can't think of anything. Did we Gen X? Did we just not participate in that? Like we did so many other things that other generations have. For some reason, Gen X was always too cool for the room. Yeah, we're not going to be participating in creating our own language because you know what? You guys change. We'll just all talk amongst ourselves in the Queen's English. Thank you. That was kind of the attitude. Barney says, rad is radical. Max is maximum. Grody is gross. We knew what it meant. Yeah, we did. We knew what they all meant. All right. Anyway, now we know what 6-7 means, and it means absolutely nothing. All right. One more time, I want to thank our executive producer of today, or as we say it, this show has been brought to you by the incredible Tracy D with very solid assists from our good man Barney and our good man Peter. Thank you folks so much. If you do want to support this show during this particular pledge week, we need to get to a certain amount. If we get to it by Friday, I'll call off the dogs. But until that moment comes, I'm going to shake my can like a lecherous evangelical. Come give me money and be saved. Why'd my TV go off? All right, there you go. Also, I would like to remind you that tonight is a game night. Trash Trivia Games DFW on Facebook is what I want you to like every day of the week. Well, not every day, but Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. We are out playing games. Tonight is Tuesday, so that means we will be at the fantastic Back Nine. The Back Nine, of course, located. Where's it? There we go. Boom. Put that up there. The Back Nine in Addison, located 4060 Beltline Road. We will get things started about 7:30. Tomorrow night we'll be at Bottle Rockets in Legacy Village. All of this is brought to you by our friends at American Whiskey. All right, I got nothing else. You guys are the best. We'll see you back here tomorrow. I hope you have a good day. And I hope to see some of you maybe at the Back Nine or Bottle Rockets tomorrow. Bye, everybody.